Kogi State is vested with wealth in many economic boosting sectors, and agriculture is one most potent of them all. The state is blessed with vast and endless arable lands for the cultivation of almost any and every farm produce, and is graced with the rivers Niger and Benue and dams flowing through, making it even more suitable for all year-round farming. However, it was met in a deplorable and grossly unharnessed state before the government of Yahya Bello.
It is important we look at what this government met on ground so that we appreciate what has actually taken place in the life span of this administration. When His Excellency Yahya Bello assumed office in January 27, 2016, the agri sector was in total mess. We met a collapsed system. We met a ministry where there was no one functional equipment to do mechanized farming. We met a ministry where the staffs were demoralized. We met a ministry where there was no training. Everybody was just doing whatever he wanted. But when His Excellency came and he made it very clear that agric would be one of his 5 thematic areas in the area of job creation and economic diversification. He made it very clear that his attention will be on agriculture, and steps were taken to see, one, how to first reorientate the staffs, to let them know that we now have a new management, a new government in place, hence the need to start doing things differently. Secondly, how to revive those dead equipment, because you cannot do mechanized farming without a farm equipment. We have been practicing subsistence farming for a very long time when we couldn't feed ourselves. We've been importing massively as a nation, so there is need to go the way of a mechanized farming. Immediately made money available for us to revive some of those equipment that are broken down for years, that were left inside the rain. Not only that, we immediately declared a state of emergency in agriculture, because when you want to really focus on a sector, the best thing to do is you declare a state of emergency, that is, you bend all the norms, all the rules, so that you can actually go out for it. The state of emergency was declared by His Excellency on agriculture, and it was followed up with a stakeholders meeting with all the farmers from the 21 local governments of the state, so that you can hear from them firsthand what the problems are. And after the stakeholders meeting, the fallouts, we rolled it into a policy, the roadmap for agriculture. In Kogi particularly, that's the Igala-speaking area where the major task they do is rice farming. Fadama has created farm clusters in Ibaji, in Basa, in Nida, in Olamo, in so many local governments in the east, and in the west, where we know that they have land that is suitable for cassava production. In Alape, Fadama has supported at least 3,000 youths in cassava production.
With arable land available in all 21 local government areas of the state, Kogi State is perhaps the most agriculturally viable state in Nigeria.
Kogi State has comparative advantage as far as agriculture is concerned among all the 36 states of the Federation. We have the arable land all over the place in all the 21 local governments of the state, which many states of the Federation do not have. We have bodies of waters in the state. As you know, we're a confluent state where rivers Niger and Benue meet. There are also dams here and there. We also have natural waters. All these are good for agriculture.
As a confluence town, the presence of the rivers Niger and Benue ensures the soil is rich enough for planting of various crops.
We have 3 products that we are focusing on mainly. That is not to say we exclude others. These are cassava, rice, and cashew.
Cashew nut, which is one of the major produce of Kogi State, is highly demanded in the export market. 50% of Nigerian cashew is produced in Kogi State, and if you analyze it, if Kogi can concentrate more even on this cashew and oil palm, they can conveniently, fund the budget of the state. So it's an opportunity for us to let the people know the potentials they have in Kogi State.
And the mechanization project recently embarked on by the present administration will ensure that these crops are available in commercial quantity for distribution across the nation.
We can develop horticulture, flower beds that will be useful to plant both flower we can domesticate and that can be exported, which will be very useful along the confluence. In the dry season to be there. Apart from the possibility of growing grains and food items using the Niger Valley from Kogi down to Anambra State. It's a vast land, arable and fertile and well fed with fertility from the soil and from the water. So this can be used to develop and to grow grains, food items, or what we have, tomatoes, pepper, and all varieties of things can be grown.
Even though I'm not from the state, but I've come through since yesterday, I've been able to read about the state. And I've discovered they've done a lot. They have the Omi Dam, they have the state is so blessed with water resources, which means that they can grow their crops 2 times, 3 times in a year. Crop like rice could be done 2 times in a year or 3 times because it's 3 months crop. You understand? Those kind of fish can be done as many times as possible because of the river network and all that. So there are a lot of potentials, which I know the present administration is doing, doing so well because I've read the agenda of the government, of the Bello government to get this thing done. So, and the most important, it has the political way for him to gather people together to brainstorm, to getting the stakeholders together to discuss issues, how going forward. He wants to know the farmers' feelings. He wants to know what he can do to improve the farmers' welfare. So I think it's a plus for the administration for what they are doing because it's actually actually the best way to go is to liaise with the stakeholders.
This administration has done a lot. I've been in the state for over 15 years now, and I've worked in the field of development in this state for that length of time. I've traversed the 21 local government areas, and I've seen the needs of our rural communities. One thing this present administration has succeeded in doing is to bring that private sector consciousness into agriculture in the state.
Today, we have a company in Kogi, Unikin, a private investment, whose business is turning cassava to ethanol. They are buying 1 ton of cassava for 38,000 naira. So if you multiply 38,000 naira by 25, that means you can make as much as 950,000 naira on 1 hectare. The cost of cultivating cassava in Kogi today, that's from clearing to harvest, the highest that you can spend is between 320,000 naira and 340,000 naira. So if you net 340, let's even say 350, from 950, you have a net of 600,000 naira. You are still going to sell the cassava stem. The cassava stem now is money. People now travel from all over the country looking for cassava stem. So the least you can actually make from cultivating 1 hectare of cassava in Kogi today is 600,000 naira.
The stem we are seeing now, in those days, the stem of the cassava is a waste. But the farmer owning these farms, after selling their tubers, they are also selling their stem, which are encouraging program for the farmer. They are now moving from the poverty level to the livelihood with their family. To this end, we are now thanking the present government who has paid the counterpart of the farmers money to enable us to enjoy this.
We have also keyed into our Anchor Borers program, which is under federal government initiative to support youths in farming. Anchor Borers program is also doing well in the state. We have anchored so many youths, and we are still anchoring. Anchor Borers program has supported at least 3,000 youths in Kogi State. There are other initiatives that state government on its own has put in place. For instance, we are clearing lands in 21 local governments. The essence of this is because we know 70% of the cost of farming in Kogi goes into clearing. Farmers can hardly afford the cost of land clearing. Hence, state government's intervention. We are in local governments clearing lands, and we are giving those lands to youths to cultivate. We know that once we clear land for you, we have taken care of at least 70% of the costs. So farmers raising 30% now to complete the farming it has made it a lot easier than before when you need, because of a non-availability of funds, people could not do farming. A lot of initiative, like I said, by state government to entice youths, to bring them back to farming. For instance, in Omi, in Yagba West local government, we are cultivating 2,500 hectares of rice. And what we intend to do with the rice farm is not to showcase to the world that Kogi has rice farm. That's not the intention. The intention is to put at least 2,500 youths on those 2,500 hectares of land. That's 1 hectare per youth. And what we intend to do is we have an expert, an agronomist, who we have contracted to be teaching our youths on best and modern agricultural practices. So what happens in Omi is we take 2,500 youths there. They learn modern farming for 1 year under those experts.
As an integral part of the thematic areas of the government's blueprint agenda, it's clear from the evaluation of the current state of agricultural sector in Kogi State that the government has been the most forward-looking with visible evidence and proactive measures to attest to the milestones attained.
The governor has been seriously and directly involved in boosting agriculture in Kogi State. They've gone far, they've done well, most especially in the area of rice production and cassava production. There is this aggressive production of rice and cassava in Kogi State. Kogi State today, Nigeria is the highest producer of cassava in the world. Kogi State is the highest producer of cassava in Nigeria. So indirectly, Kogi State is the highest producer of cassava in the world. However, the cassava that we eat in Nigeria is not even enough for consumption, talking about industrial purpose. Because cassava now is shifting from domestic to industrial utilization. The executive governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Adoda Bello, is concerned about this. So he has introduced a program under the Ministry of Agriculture and the ADPs into aggressive production of cassava and rice, so that there will be balance, there will be creation of balance in terms of food consumption, industrial purpose, and income generation.
The work when the Yaya Bello is doing for us in Kogi is a mighty work. Then I won't say thank you for Yaya Bello, the governor of Kogi, for the counterpart fund when he paid before the project exists. So I have to speak my language to know say Lily. You people come to Ibra land, you come to. That's why I say thank you, Avo, for Yaya Bello. We
are currently at Magongo Production Cluster in Ogori Magongo local government area of Kogi State. Here we have 75 hectares of cassava farmland planted to TME 419. That is a variety that the State Fadama Coordination Office is implementing. So here at this site we have 35 hectares and at the other side we have 40 hectares. Also, to support this project here, we have infrastructures like road and borehole, a productive borehole which is to help the farmers on their farm when they want to spray their farms with agrochemicals, and also when they are thirsty and they need to rest, they drink from the borehole. And we also have road. You know what? Road is one very key thing that the farmers need to transport their goods from their farm to the market. Initially, when the project came here, we discovered that the road was so bad and the farmers had difficulties in transporting their goods from the farm. So the World Bank deemed it necessary that a road be constructed to the farm, which has greatly aided them. Because in this production cluster, this is its third cycle. It actually commenced here in 2014. And the project is a one-time support to farmers. And since that, the farmers on their own have continued to recultivate their cassava farm. This is because the State Fadama Coordination Office has trained them to make farming a business, and they've really keyed into it because it's really helping them. If you look around, you see something like cassava, maize being planted. Where we have that is a windrow. These windrows are created when the farms were being segmented into hectares, 1 hectare per farmer. These windrows are supposed to be cultivated to a crop so that it doesn't serve as a haven for rodents. You know, rodents are very dangerous to our crops. So instead of leaving it fallow, the farmers decided to go into maize production, cassava production, and whatever it is that they would like to use the place. That too is an added advantage, because in the long run, it is going to increase the income of the farmers by the time they sell the produce of the windrow.
Our location is also an advantage. We are very close to Abuja, so when you have our products, marketing will not be a problem.
Also, what happens in Omi is we take 2,500 youths there. They learn modern farming for 1 year under those experts. And at the end of 1 year, they proceed from the farm. Of course, we are cultivating rice and we are harvesting. We are doing 3-season farming in Omi because it's an irrigable area. We have a dam in Omi, so we have water throughout the year irrigating the farm. So the proceeds will be divided into 3. 1 to the state, to our IGR. 1 portion to the experts, that's the agronomists that we have contracted. And one third, that's the last batch now, goes to the youth. And what we intend to do with that is we want to empower those youths after training them. It's not enough to just train youths and free them if you don't give them a status pack. It's as if you have not done anything. So we are also empowering them to start their own farm. That's after undergoing training for 1 year. We give them a status pack, that is money to go and start their farm. They go into the various local governments and replicate rice farming in all the local governments. And another year again, we take another 2,500 there. We're using that place as a training ground for youths who will in turn go to their local governments and establish rice farm across the state. The reason is very simple, and why we are doing this, we are conscious of the fact that we don't just want to be producing rice, and other states will be coming to buy it in form of paddy, take it to their state, mill it, and call it their rice. What has been happening in the state before is all our efforts are producing rice. We don't get the glory because they come from Anambra, they come from Edo State, they come from the east, but majorly, to buy those paddy rice at ridiculous amounts, take it to their states, mill it, and write the name of their state on it. So we do the farming, they take the glory. But the state government order, His Excellency Ariya Ebelu has said no, we no longer do that. As we speak now, we are building a 50-ton paddy rice mill in Omi that will take care of all the rice we produce in the states, so that we no longer allow other state people to come in, take it away, and call it their rice. We'll mill it in Kogi, and we have said to Kogi people that by the special grace of God, come December 2017, we'll be selling conference rice to both Kogis and even other states, other neighboring states in the country. The idea is, 1, we want to create jobs for our people. Rather than they using us to do the hard labor and take the glory, we want to also create jobs, create wealth, add to our IGR, and stimulate the economy. Because we know that where we have a rice mill, we have wholesalers, retailers, all manner of business activities will spring up around the mill, and it will lead to massive injection of funds into the state economy. We are building that in Omi as I speak now, right now. We are also planning another one in Ibaji, because majority of the rice that is produced in Kogi is from the east. So we will also be building another rice mill in Ibaji. If we have 2 functional big rice mills in the state, we are very confident that whatever we produce here, we can mill, add value to it, earn so much money from it, and our people will be happy for it.
The vegetation of the state consists of mixed leguminous Guinea woodland to forest savanna, wide expanse of Fadama in the river basin, and long stretches of tropical forest in the western and southern belts of the state. Hence, the state is blessed with suitable ecological and climatic conditions capable of supporting the production of various agricultural products including yams, cassava, soybean, cocoyam, maize, millet, rice, Guinea corn, palm produce, cowpea, and others. The state's rich agricultural endowment is reflected in its capacity to produce cash crops like cocoa and cashew. Ideally located on Nigeria's middle belt, it is finally poised to maximize its potential as a national and international trade hub.
We are saying that by the time we are through with our programs, that's the first phase of His Excellency's 8-year program. The first phase is 4 years. Before the end of the first phase, which is the 4-year program, we would have made agriculture so attractive that even civil servants will voluntarily resign their appointments and take to farm. But the truth is, it is a realistic project. Today, if you cultivate 1 hectare of cassava in the state, 1 hectare, if you are able to cultivate just 1 hectare of cassava, it takes 9 months for cassava from plant to harvest. The average yield in Kogi is 25 to 30 tons per hectare. That means if you cultivate 1 hectare, the yield, if you follow the modern agricultural practices, the least you can get is 25 tons. That's 25 tons per hectare. You can get as much as 30. You can even get more. But let's even pick the lowest figure, which is 25 tons. These are some of the initiatives that His Excellency has brought, and we are pursuing them with vigor to ensure that we stimulate Kogi economy, to create wealth for our people, to create jobs for our people, reduce crime, and most importantly, add to our IGR.
Of course, we know the demand for these products in the at present. So people should not, cashew for instance, people should not come and buy our cashews, take them to India or wherever. We want them to come, and the arrangements are also with some investors. Let them come and process this cashew here. By so doing, you create opportunities for employment, you increase the income of farmers, and so on and so. The same thing goes for cassava. Let them do processing of cassava. Let them rebrand them. Like right now, there's a large scale farmer in Akpata, near Obajana, Chelsea, Nigeria Limited. They are up to 13,000 hectares of cassava, and they are already installing their factory to process this cassava. So we are saying it is not just producing these crops. The emphasis now, as I said before, investors are coming, is also to process these products we have.
Why no, Sarah? Building greenhouse farm, and what informed the decision to build a greenhouse farm? You find out that most of the vegetable we consume in Kogi either come from Borno, Kano, Sokoto, northern part of the country. Meanwhile, it will be cheaper for us to even grow it in Kogi and move it up north or down south, because we are the center. If you look at the Nigerian map, Kogi is strategically located. So we have said that we want to put an end to a situation where we have to be waiting for people to bring tomato, pepper, and all the rest from Sokoto, Maiduguri, when we have land that can support vegetable farm. So what we have done is we have contacted some Israelites to build greenhouse farm for us in Osara. As we speak, construction is ongoing, and we are very hopeful that by the time we'll be celebrating the 2nd year anniversary of this administration, we'll be commissioning that project. That will put an end, like I said, to supporting the economy of other states. We want to start supporting the economy of Kogi people. We want Kogi money to work for Kogi people. We will not only be selling vegetables to Kogais, we will also be taking our vegetables to other states. We also need them to support our economy to grow. And by so doing, once we create that awareness, and people now know that they can make so much money from sales of vegetable, we know farmers on their own will key into it. And before long, Kogi will become a hub for all those vegetable stores. These are some of the programs that we are doing to stimulate agriculture in the state. There are policies. We are supporting farmers in different locations, big-time farmers. We are collaborating with them to create an enabling environment that will make their business flourish in the state. We've been visiting their farms. I've been taking notes of their problems. I've been discussing them with His Excellency, and he has been magnanimous and gracious enough. Where they need light, we have extended light to them. Where they need rural route, we have extended rural route to them. So many things we are doing to stimulate the agri sector in the state, because, like I said, His Excellency has said it very clearly that it will use agriculture to create jobs massively for Kogais, to diversify the economy and stimulate the economy and turn the economy from what we now call civil service state to a producing state.
One of the days when free money is available everywhere, even though such monies were never free. Such money that were given out freely in those days landed us in a bigger trouble that we are trying to solve today. What are we supposed to do now? Our God-given leader, Mr. President, very visionary, determined, is taking the lead. In Kogi State, the new direction administration under my leadership, we're taking the lead as well. What is left is for the citizens of Kogi State to follow suit and follow us diligently. And I am very confident that we will not need to wait for anybody, any politician from within the state or from Abuja or those in the Facebook to tell us what is happening in Kogi State. Rather, we're feeding them facts